Good evening, or good morning, good afternoon, depending what time it is when you watch this. Both for anyone live and anyone watching playback can, of course, be very different. Here in Melbourne town, it'd be 8 p.m. on Thursday. Very different in other parts of the world, and it is fun that we get people from other parts of the world joining in. Strange foreign climes, like Megaleech here from the wilds of Tasmania. Good evening to you, sir. How has the day treated you? Well, I hope. This blood orange has lasted me a long time because it's so strong. Like, this glass is like that much blood orange. The rest is lemonade. I think it would be far too sweet. Alexander, hello from England. Assuming that means it's good morning for you. Don't have a time converter with me, but my vague and muddled sense of world times makes me think it's in the AM for you. Yes, meanwhile, here in Australia, we're all looking for exciting news tomorrow, 11 a.m. for you, Alexander. Tomorrow, the federal and state leaders are meeting to decide what, if any, restrictions to lift. Now, it's probably going to vary state to state because in terms of new infections, we have variation from South Australia having had no new infections for 2 weeks to Victoria having just traced a fairly significant outbreak to one meatworks. I think there's like 65 cases from that one site. Now, the government's saying at the moment that this doesn't panic them. They're not worried about significant community transmission from this, but I do imagine they've put some considerable effort into some contact tracing, working out where everyone from this meatworks has been, who they've interacted with, and testing. Since they made tests widely available in Victoria, particularly in Melbourne and the suburbs, a lot of people have been tested. Like, the goal was to test 100,000 people by Sunday, and apparently we passed that mark today. So that's ahead of schedule, is good, because that's data. It's what the government needs at the moment to make measured decisions, is data, because we know probably a majority of people who contract the coronavirus show no signs outwardly, or very mild signs that you might even miss. It's like, I got a bit of a tickle in my throat. I got a slightly runny nose. So when you've got a sneaky little virus like that, it's very easy for it to get out of control in the community. But if the government's, able to run, well, at this rate, they might have anywhere between 120 and 150,000 tests completed by Monday. That gives them a significant body of data to analyze, and should help identify if there are hidden cases in the community, which is distinctly possible. Simply because if people don't show symptoms, you're not going to know they've got it. That was the interesting thing also about this meatworks, where I think they're up to like 65 cases now. Not a single one of them hospitalized. None of them had complications. None of them had severe illness as a result of having contracted the virus. That seems like, you could say, I guess they're all healthy, but healthy people can get sick and even die from the virus. Less likely to, all our available evidence is that immunocompromised people are at much higher risk, and that's older people or people with immune deficiencies. But 65 people and none of them getting hospitalized, that seems like a bit of luck was on their side, quite honestly. I mean, it's, it is a great result that none of them even needed to be hospitalized because they didn't get severe symptoms and they didn't get any complications. But of course, that means that they probably weren't showing signs. So who the hell knows how many people they interacted with? Justin, hello, good evening. How are you? And you may or may not have noticed that in the title of the video, I did say that maybe AIDzee's joining us because I had a jolly talk with him today, and he's very keen to come back on. And then I haven't heard from him. I sent him a link about half an hour ago, and I haven't heard from him. So AIDzee's complicated, chaotic world, who the hell knows if he will actually show up? Because, new strain. Well, that's the thing. There's been concern, from day dot, basically, that this coronavirus would mutate, because most of these viruses do. And usually it's not a significant difference, but there's been, a few scares at different times, and I don't think this has ever been borne out, but there's been a few scares at different times that much more dangerous strains of it could be mutating. I don't believe there's any conclusive evidence on that yet. More than willing to be corrected. But it's mainly been sort of supposition and hasn't been confirmed. But yeah, it's always a risk with these things. Justin, what did the ACT opposition leader say? I saw what the Victorian opposition, the fucking loser pieces of shit, trying so hard to politicize this. Read the room, you fucking morons. Seriously, the Liberal Party in Victoria is just a fucking shit show. And they're really fucking pissed off at getting beaten by Dan Andrews, and they're really pissed off that he's popular. They're really pissed off that his policies are popular. And so they've been sniping at him about this outbreak at the meatworks. Oh, it's Dan Andrews, bloody Princess Cruise. He's a failure. And Dan Andrews is like, shut the fuck up. Hey, Stella, good evening. Oh, Justin, did you send me that link? Someone sent me the link saying the ACT opposition leader said, well, pandemic is over. Fucking moron. What is it? He's just part of the right-wing death cult. These people go, no, everyone should go back to work now. No restrictions. Go for it. It's going like, we know almost beyond doubt. Thanks for sending it, Justin. I did read it. Thank you. And then it went out of my mind until you reminded me. There is basically no doubt if we dropped all restrictions now, we'd have another major outbreak because it's lurking out there. And if we keep the isolation up, it will continue to lurk rather than spread rapidly through the whole community. But if we relaxed all restrictions, even if you didn't do, no one sane is talking about opening international borders. Oh, apart from us talking about having a bubble between us and New Zealand, because we're similarly controlled. But yeah, nobody sane's talking about opening international travel. But a lot of people are just all the restrictions gone. And even with how much we have actually controlled the outbreak, if you dropped all restrictions tomorrow, there is basically no doubt we'd have another major outbreak of the virus. I mean, God forbid, America, which is just in the shit, and they're dropping restrictions anyway. That is not going to be good. That is, the US has been on the razor's edge for a couple of months, and there's a bunch of idiots determined to slice themselves open on it. And I don't think I should pursue that metaphor. It is an unappealing metaphor. David, bring on another outbreak. Well, yeah, dude, if you were a nihilist, you'd be all for it at the moment. But yeah, I mean, you're making a joke, but there are those clowns they're all around the world, but they are particularly pronounced in the US. They're called accelerationists, people who believe the current society is doomed to collapse. In fact, they want it to collapse. These like right-wing nut jobs who are convinced they shall inherit the earth. So they're so convinced that the existing order will collapse, and they want it to, and they're so convinced they will benefit from it. They will speculate on ways to accelerate the collapse. Hence the term accelerationists. Yeah, they're idiots. Stella, you did read pretty much correctly. The Brooklyn meat works up to 60. In fact, I think it was 65. Commenting on that just before you joined, not only were there a lot of cases, but none of them have been hospitalized, which is a little bit fascinating to me that they had so many cases and no one had to be hospitalized. No one was severely ill. No one had complications. Ooh, so New Zealand's planning a big relaxing. What does The Guardian say about that? Hairdressers, bars, and competitive sport could be back on the agenda for New Zealanders from next week. So they've had really strict lockdown for more than 5 weeks, far more strict than us. So they're making a decision on Monday, which everyone thinks they will downgrade the alert level. Now, apparently, this level of restriction would allow gatherings of up to 100 people, both indoors and outdoors. Playgrounds and libraries be open. Bars and restaurants would be able to accept patrons, of course, with that limit of 100 people. Domestic travel, competitive sport could resume, including professional leagues, but no stadium crowds, of course. Most workers could head back to the office, although Ardern urged anyone who could stay home to do so. I'll be staying home as long as friggin' possible, honestly. They'll still have social distancing rules. Patrons should be 2 meters apart in public spaces. Hairdressers, barbers, and beauticians would be required to wear personal protective equipment. So that would be pretty radical. Wait and see, I guess. David, looking snappy tonight because I'm making another video. Decided this is my thing for my cocktail videos. Started off, I just did it for Formal Friday, but I'm going to wear this. I'm going to make another video. I might even actually. I'm going to crack out. I don't know who was in the stream last night, but I finished my clarified zombie. And look at how it's come out. It looks a bit darker and oranger on screen. In real life, it's lighter and yellower. This drink was so dark, it was almost black. So the milk clarification process is truly astonishing. I think I should try, because I haven't taste tested this yet. That's the other thing, that the milk clarification doesn't just change how the drink looks, it changed how it tastes. Now that's got like 4 sorts of rum and a bit of absinthe in it. Seeing it's a zombie tiki one, I should get my tiki mug. Right. And a big chunk of ice, I think. Even though I've kept it in the fridge, I'll still do a big chunk of ice. Put that in there. That back in there. Oh, closed. You're closed. Okay. Yeah, David, this is the stuff I was... Dirk, no. I've never even worked in a bar. This has just been a hobby I've been developing for the last, I don't know, 2 years. G'day to you, mate. But yeah, this is my first experiment with milk clarification, and visually, it's a stunning success. Just going to taste it now. It's looking... Oh, it smells great. Smells great. Oh, look who's here. Look who's here.
Hello. Hello.
He's
Hello.
here.
Hello. It's so AIDzee with a microphone on. You should put me up like they do in the VLC player. And then that way I won't have to shout down the house. But I can sort of be a bit loud.
No, you're good. You're good. The volume at now is good.
Isn't it?
Yeah, you're all good, brother.
Good. Oh, fuck. You have no idea. The rest of the day went just...
okay. Because yeah, I told the good people that we talked today, and we're going to see what happened. Yeah, I'll let you tell a story, but I'm just to bring you up to speed with where I was. Last night, I did an experiment with what's called milk clarification, or sometimes just called a milk punch, with a spirituous beverage. And it's basically, you make your drink with El Buzo, and it needs to have some citrus in it. And then you pour it into some milk, which sounds very counterproductive, because that curdles the milk, and you go this curd, and you let it sit for a while, and then you filter it, and the curds actually act as an additional filter. This is a clarified zombie. This had 4 sorts of rum in it, including 2 dark rums and some of my blue absinthe. So in the end, it was this kind of dark green black color, like it was really black. And the clarification process has made it this brilliant yellow, which is mind-blowing because it was like opaque before. And it's supposed to affect the taste as well. And I've never done this before. So my first taste test of a milk clarified zombie. So
I'm sorry. I know it probably has nothing to do with a zombie, which looks fucking amazing, by the way. But I used to live in ACT, a ways away from the AAF flight line. This is not the base, which is now the airport. Yeah. And still is. The airport in Canberra is in fact an RAAF base called Fairbairn. Back in those days, they used to have the Squadron 5 helicopters, which is the ones you see in Vietnam War pictures. But they also used to have the F-111s, and these motherfuckers would howl up a fury and really get up a go. And they also used to float about 2 men aside, to one to fly and one to bomb. Basically, it's something like 850 kilometers per hour down in the mountains of Canberra at levels of about 80 to 100 meters. Now, I don't know about you, but if you're going 850 Ks around twisty mountains, and with $20 million worth of jet technology, I wouldn't be wanting to fuck that up. and this whole idea of opaque coming to brilliant was what was it called? A clarification?
Clarification, yes.
Yeah, a clarification. Was precisely the kind of thing that they would come on the radio saying that they were going to be up to, because they wouldn't say what they were doing. So they would say things like, I'm going out for a for a dog walk, which ends up, by the way, meaning we're dropping 5 nuclear weapons on Jakarta. It's taking a dog for a walk.
Yeah.
It's not fucking coming back. I suppose what it leaves there is not coming back.
Let the dog roam free.
Yes, happily and forever after, with 8 heads and a love of children. Yes, so that's fucking awesome. That drink. Wow. I have a new project on, which I'm just going to start now.
Okay.
And I'm going to get you and Angrophyte to help me with. When I say help, what I actually mean is give money to.
Okay.
When I was 30 years old, I
Yes.
lost a job at being on the road show because I was crippled, and they were very nice about it, but they said, "You're fired." And that was disappointing because that happened actually at my birthday party while everyone was there. But they were very nice about it, and they essentially said, "You're in the twos. You're in the reserves now for a while." And I thought, well, that's it. I'm not fucking coming back. And they did. They did bring me back from the reserves a couple of times, and they gave me a kind of specialty to do, and it was kind of fun. But it wasn't a job. It wasn't a living. And then the next big birthday I had was my 40th, and I was fucking in hospital when I had my 40th. And it was shit because it was the short stay unit. It wasn't even a fucking ward. It was the short stay unit, which is an invitation to infection, and is the sound of people wanting to be close to the end, and that sucked. So I was going to have the big 50th with everyone because there was going to be travel involved this time. It was either to Canberra or to Melbourne, and turns out no. Once again, your birthday plans are going to be shitty. So what's going to happen is this: AIDzee's going to get for his 50th a tablet, and you're all going to pay for it, and that's going to be great. It's going to be not huge, expensive tablet. It's not going to be massive. But yeah, we're going to get all of yous to put in and get as many of you mates to put in, because we reckon we can then take it to angry events and use it as we're working, and basically not have to have it sticking out everywhere. So yeah, that's the plan. That's the plan. We like to plan. We like the guy who can put the plan into action. I've got to talk to him the next day or so. Anyway,
Well, we could set up a GoFundMe or something for that.
was something along those
Yeah,
lines.
something where people can contribute.
For sure. And yeah, the yes, it would make it worthwhile.
Yeah,
And chop out everything else vis-a-vis birthday, and have this one thing,
yeah.
and it'll be part of a healthy
Okay.
making stuff go.
Yeah, that sounds like something we could work towards. I just said,
Doesn't it though?
yeah, David saying he turns 54 this year and said, time flies once you hit about 35. And that scared Bobo, who said, don't say that, I just turned 36. The years, what was the immortal bard of the ages, Smash Mouth, said, the years keep coming and they just keep coming.
Yeah, they
Hey,
just
now
keep
you're an
going.
all-star.
Yeah, fucking nice.
Alexander, we haven't set it up yet. AIDzee's just come up with this concept. We will set up one of those crowdfunding sites, get AIDzee a tablet for his 50th. We'll tell the whole mournful story about how decades are not kind to AIDzee because something shitty happens every decade landmark. And it's just like,
but
oh my God.
it was also on the half ones as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every half.
You keep
so every 5.
You keep
was
illuminating the people. I'll be back in a minute.
okay. So every big one, the zeros, was just bang, it would explode, and then the halves would blow up as well. And it was just wildly fucked. So yeah, this time round we're trying out something different, and we're just going to go. No, we're gonna push the fun. We're going to make the fun happen, and we're going to make the fun about bringing it to other people. So it's not south. And yeah, I don't know if there's anything else I could ask of you. Ask of you. I don't mean the GoFundMe, which I'll be asking a fucking lot of you. Believe me. No. Ask of you in the sense that can you sit through the history of AIDzee's disappointing birthdays? But they're not disappointing per se. I mean, a couple of them I was alive, which was not a given fucking entity, not a given value. So yeah, it was an alright sort of thing. Yeah.
That's the plan. Make AIDzee's 50th a bit less shit by kicking in for a tablet so he can be a man who communicates with the people.
I will communicate with the people,
Yeah.
especially when we go to the lunch with the angry, and I have to have the tablet with me. Going, here's the thing that we have to submit to these guys this afternoon.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Which,
we don't get paid.
We might be able to do that soon. It looks like in-person restrictions are going to be relaxed soon for at least small numbers of people. So, like, technically,
Yeah.
unless I'm taking something over to you, which I have done in recent history, I shouldn't be like physically associating with you under the current rules.
But come on, man! Fucking, can you just stop? Because fucking so many people use this same fucking excuse. It's just, oh well, No, we don't. We're not allowed to associate because of the government's restrictive rules. It's what it is. It's like fucking bullshit. My boyfriend's mother fucking said, "No, you can't come round to your boyfriend's house because it's my house, and I'm afraid you'll give me fucking coronavirus." And so you'll go COVID 19, and so no, you can't come round. And
Yeah,
I'm going, I want to come around and play, and no, you can't. You
yeah,
got to just stay away. And I'm just going, oh, come on. I mean, if the fucking people who are here, who's more likely to get fucking
yeah.
crusty and dead? Is it me or is it the old people? I'm thinking it's the
I'm not
old
saying,
people.
right? I'm
Yeah,
not
no,
saying.
I'm saying it's the old people who won't let me come round to my boyfriend's house and have sex. And
I'm, I'm
uh,
not saying I had a quiet word in Dan Andrews' ear and said, "Could you just make something a rule that gives me an excuse to not have to, like, breathe the same air as AIDzee?" And he went, "Oh, I know what you mean, mate. I know what you mean. I'm on it." I'm not saying that happened, right? I'm not saying that's what happened, but here we are. Here we are.
yeah, but I haven't seen Danny. I
No,
haven't
he
seen
hasn't come around
Dano
either.
for quite some time. Jesus, he's got to be the guy, doesn't he? That's going to be that guy that's all like, yep, okay, really friendly at a place. That something's going on, and then you'll hear in the middle of the room him go, "For fuck's sake!" And then there'll be a growly talk for
Yeah,
30, 40 seconds, and then the minders will all fucking, come in like sharks, grab him, and then take him away to the
yeah.
relaxation spot. David Hill, did coming close to kicking the bucket give you a different outlook on life or are you much the same? Very, very different outlook
I
on
thought you'd
life.
like this one. Yeah,
Very different outlook on life. Like they say things to you like, "Don't sweat the small stuff," um, the, but they don't even tell you how to define the small stuff. Um, they they don't even tell you how to forgive the mentality and teachings of the Catholic Church. Um, and that was the other thing too. You get to think about things in a really deep and uncluttered way because you let go of the things that aren't going to be a problem anymore. Um, yeah, it's really not going to be a problem. Me getting a Fortune 500 job, um, that's not going to be a problem. Um, it's it, it's basically um, going to be useful to think through that uh, your mentality was given to you by the people who taught you how to speak and how to think. And in my case, it was the Catholic Church. Um, and I then had to turn around and go, all right, I can hate them for taking up a quarter of my mind space, or I can turn around and say, hey, that was some pretty clever working. You've taken over so much of my wordage and my structural wordage that you've really nailed down how I think about a lot of stuff without me even fighting you on it. And if I do fight you on it, I'd better have a pretty fucking good reason why I'm doing it. Um, First time I saw someone do a serious mental fight against the Catholic Church was a Buddhist monk who came into a square with a can of petrol, poured it all over himself, waited for it to evaporate, and then lit himself on fire. His protest ended when he finally collapsed over because no one could get near him. It was quite horrific to watch this thing. And it's all of this stuff going on at once.
So, buddy boy, I'm going to interrupt you momentarily to ask you a pertinent question.
Good.
I am going to make another of these clarified milk cocktails, and I'm going to do the video. But that means I'm going to keep the stream going, but I'm going to switch my microphone off so it's not too distracting for what you're doing. So my question to you is, do you want to keep monologuing, or do you want to like open the chat for anyone who's up for it to jump on webcam and share some time with you? What are you in the mood for, my good man?
Oh, I don't want to share any time with these miserable bastards.
Good. You want to monologue at them?
I just want to monologue at these motherfuckers.
Nice. AIDzee has got a pour wisdom on you, whether you
I've got to get
like
back
it or
into
not.
shape because my brain is actually out of whack. It's had a lot of drug changes, and you can hear that I can't remember words and vocab and appropriate hysterectomies. And it's difficult for me to put together contexts and things like that. I'm suffering a lot of pain, but I've got the nitrous oxide to help with that. That, however, that's an expensive beast, and is going to have to stop soon.
But Lee wants to say hello to you too. So Lee, who you might remember from meetups from years ago, he's got the username Well Gifted Aspie there. No longer lives in Melbourne's in Adelaide at the moment.
There you go.
Say hi to you.
No, well, that's nice.
Right.
Tell him to send me some money.
Yeah. So you want to do the monologuing then?
Yes, I do.
All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to switch my microphone off, and I'll also switch the speakers off on my side, so I won't be able to hear you anymore. So are you prepared to completely take the reins now, or do you want a couple minutes to build up to it?
Oh, I'll take the reins.
All right. So from this point on, I can't hear you. So you are in charge of things, and now I'm muting my mic, and you won't hear me for about 10 minutes while I put this video together. But I'll be a weird visual distraction. You can watch me while I do it, but you won't hear me. But AIDzee's in charge of what happens in the stream now. So monologue away, sir.
Well, I'm gonna put some comments over there, and hopefully I'll be able to read some of this stuff as it comes through. So all I'm asking is type slowly, because fuck knows I'll be reading slowly. I'll also be reading out loud as my lips will be moving anyway. I hope, people, that everything's been going well for you. Let me just suck down on this very unbecoming tube. I might be back to it later. Yeah, I bring this to job interviews. And uh, prison. What do they call it when you get let out of prison? Parole. Yeah, parole hearings. So yeah, guys, things have been fucked up. I don't know if Angry has told you, but I've been living in the house with a lady who has very serious mental health issues, and she is quite violent, quite creepy, and quite creepy with it, to the point where half the house has basically up and left. Two of these people, and okay, so there's couples, all right, yeah. There's 17 flats in the whole block. Um, 6 of the flats have up and fucked off. And that is, yeah, it's half the house has gone in 2 weeks, just left. And yeah, this woman's been in and out a few times, freaking out everybody. People running past her house to get outside and have a cigarette because you're not allowed to smoke inside. If you want to have a cigarette, you go outside. Um, but yeah, uh, that's one of the things that's caused one of the more heated problems with myself and herself is can you not smoke inside and come on, um, uh, shut your door and open your window if you're going to do that. And well, fuck, bang. Um, um, you're this, you're that, you've got to pay the rent. You've got to do this, you've got to do that. And she comes on like she's a special forces demoness, and she's got claimants of being a lawyer, and she's what's the other one? Her boyfriend, her partner, has uh, uh, a lot more uh, fucking property, and there's a big discrepancy between what this lady says and what you can prove or see, and the things that you can see and the things that you can prove. Mind you, she's a sneaky fucking cunning mole. I was talking to herself, the cops, and me with a glider, and it looked like I was going to go to jail because I didn't have the correct forms of AIDzee. I didn't have this. I didn't have that. Because sometimes I would be lazy and jump off the back uh, back roof, and you're really not supposed to do that. But if you've got a squirrel suit on, it'll work. You got to imagine, like, a squirrel suit with fat me in the middle of it, flying anywhere, but it'll at least take me down to the ground without killing me. And so she's sort of noticed all the details of this thing and cut it into bits. when it was time to when it was time to bloody do something useful. Think Big Hero 6. She started calling the cops on, oh, this guy's been jumping off the roof with this dangerous machine toy. Just going, it's a squirrel suit, don't worry about it. Anywho, every day I've been getting threats. Every day I've been told I'm going to die. Every day I've been threatened. The most recent round of threats is that I am a fag, going to get a fag pole up me, and that'll kill me. And I should know that because that's how someone who's real, that's how they come home. I don't mind that I was called a fag or gay or a poof or whatever, but I got told by one of the people in the house that it made them intimidated and it made them not want to identify. No, while they wanted to identify, they were too scared to identify, and they don't want me to bring it up. And of course, I've got to respect that, but it makes me just go, no, what you've done here, lady, is you've taken away not only this guy, but other people's rights, I suppose. Everyone's got a right to be what they are. I mean, the world's moved on, and so if you're gonna have that taken off you by someone who's really good at it, actually, by the way, and then her other thing is she'll take off your name, and then she'll also take off your existence, your ability to frond about. So again, I'm honestly surprised that was this, being Alibabaed by her and not me. So for a month and a half, I've been told every night that I've been going to be killed. It's been pretty tough on boss of the house. It's been pretty tough on everyone in the house, and we're just trying to survive and get through it. Look, dude, I I would love to be able to just say, oh, here's the magic answer to what it all is. And the magic answer is this lady's got to go. But how that happens is, I don't know. But I know that if we get yet another example of bloody sorry, another example of threats, then yeah, she's got to go away again. So it's been tough. It's been tough, and that's a lot of the reason why you haven't seen me, and that's a lot of reason why you haven't heard from Boss of the House, because he's got work and school work, and a lot of that has been made difficult for him because he's been working on it, and he has to give himself space and room to do it. So he's left here to go to somewhere else to get it done. And I asked his mother if I could come around there and hang out with him while he has a break, and she said, "Oh no, because of the coronavirus, we're in lockdown, and you know, you can't be here until the whole thing has relaxed down, and you can get in that way." And I'm going, "Oh, okay." And so when she said that, I was gutted. I was having a really rough day after a rough week, and I just went, "Oh, it just doesn't get, so bad." But things always improve. And I discovered a set of baby dinosaur eggs, and they should net me several million dollars. We know that they're baby dinosaur eggs because they've holding cans of beer that are the smaller can, or what we call the twisty back in the day, and that sizes the dinosaur really very well. So yeah, I'll be looking at some money for that. That wasn't faked at all by Giovanni down here at Whiskers, panel beating and touching. What else can
I don't
I
know.
say?
I'm going to pose a quick question, buddy. How many hate crimes have you committed while I've been gone? Based on averages, I'm thinking 6.
Hate crimes?
Hmm.
I'm only committed 2 hate crimes while you've been gone,
Oh,
but
geez, that's self-control.
but I've been explaining a lot of things vis-a-vis not so much what's his fucking name? He's always got documents. He's got proof.
Oh,
He's got
Assange.
so sorry.
Julian Assange, WikiLeaks. Is that what we're saying?
No. The guy who's the broadcaster slash fired from that.
Alex Jones? I don't know.
Alex Jones.
Yeah.
Alex Jones. Yeah. So yeah, no, I've been on his count and his style.
Mm.
I've been doing a few, but I've been doing it with, like you said, butterflies and niceness, and the fact that there's some crazy shit out there. uh, and crazy shit will basically fuck up your difficulty. It fucks up it erodes your ability to exist when you're
Yep.
being told I'm going to kill you every night. When every night you're being told
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yep.
I'm
Yep.
gonna kill you. I'm going to fuck up the remains. I've found out where your family lives, and so when that happens, that just erodes you.
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
other thing is that it erodes your uh, relationships.
Mm.
And uh, again, this is going to be fucked up. Um, uh, a while ago,
Yeah.
I was having a lot of difficulty with my relationship because I was having a lot of difficulty with drugs.
Hmm.
And and boss of the house was pissed at me,
Hmm.
big time pissed at me, and at one time said, "If I walk into this fucking house and see this drug in this house again, then you don't see me here ever again." And I'm going, right. That's a message. That's a message right there. And so I altered that. Um, and even though I behaved myself, he was playing with his friends, and I was still getting mournful, surly looks. And I was just going, "This is killing me." And I said to him, "What's going on? I want some of the fun too." And they get all the fun, I get nothing. Um, and he said, "Well, maybe you deserve nothing." And I went, "But I've done everything that you've asked." He says, "Well, it's what does that even mean?" And I've gone, "Okay, right, we're going to change the shape of this. This won't mean anything to people who don't know what me and Angry studied. Okay,
Hmm.
so changing the shape of the dynamic and changing the shape of the framing had to happen in a big time way. Otherwise, the relationship was over. And so I did. I started this. This was previous. I started changing the dynamic, the shaping and framing, and it was working. It really fucking works. Yeah, our lecturers, those guys, they really actually knew what they were doing, um, and
Yeah.
so uh, yeah, I could change this guy's mind, and I could change the way this guy was putting his mind together, um, which was great. Um, Also, it was great that I got an opportunity to um, uh, I got an opportunity uh, to take on the fun, to
Right.
own the fun. Now that doesn't seem like a big deal, but then when Crazy Pants Bitch comes along and
Yes.
says, "I'm going to kill you every night," that really, really just on the quiet
Yeah.
ground down at boss of the house, and that really upset him. Um, and he just wanted out of there for a while because he was being freaked out.
Yeah.
And I said, "No, we're not going to get freaked out." And I also said, "No, I'm not going to get thrown out of my fucking house
Mm.
because that's part of this game is to be thrown out of
Yes.
my house."
Yeah.
And fuck that shit. And I I went and bought the comedy back, and sorry, bought the comedy back, bought the ownership of the fun back, and it works really well.
Mm.
Um, didn't know that I was going to have to practice it uh, and then use it again, but it works really, really well. And again, I had an opportunity a couple of days ago. Boss of the house had a freak out because he had too much pressure at work and too much work on. And I managed to talk him down off the roof, and we got together for um, only a few hours, really. Um, it was really only a high, going to bed, sleep, getting up, shower, off to work that was really all it was. Fine with me. But I just want to make that more and more normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's been really hard
Yeah,
lately. Um,
yeah,
and we'll throw on top of this, I'm
yeah,
fucking broke. Um,
yeah.
because I've had a lot of shit that I've had to buy to deal with um, uh, shit coming down. I've had some medicine to buy. I've had fucking bits and pieces of rental hassle to buy. Um, uh, I've made some bad decisions, but it'll be and also this fucking stimulus
Mm.
has been put together in the wrong order in the wrong place.
It shows
That
what
is
their
just my
priorities are, basically.
say again.
It shows what Scummo's priorities are. It's like the people who were always the most hard hit in society, he doesn't give a shit about. Uh, he's just saying what's the best PR for him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Um,
love this comment
someone,
from Mitchell saying he still remembers the comedy show. Still can't unsee your bits from the way you were swinging in the breeze at the Code Grey stage show.
yes, can't unsee my bits. And good bits they are to not
Yeah,
unsee.
yeah,
Strangely manufactured as they are. Hint,
yes.
people, hint right there.
Miracles of modern
I'm not
medicine.
going to tell you everything, but
Yeah.
hint, manufactured.
Yes.
As in plastic surgery after a massive life threatening event.
Yep.
Um, you should check it out, Code Grey.
Yeah.
It's still
Yeah.
monetized.
Yeah.
Like I
And in
hope it's still monetized.
I think we'll include when we set up, whether it's GoFundMe or another website, someone might say, no, here's a better one for this type of stuff. That we will definitely include a link to Code Grey in the details, just so like if you want to know the scale of shit AIDzee spent a decade or two dealing with, here's a little insight right here.
Thank you, right there.
Yeah.
I had some interesting difficulties a little while ago. I've been trying to um, make jokes so that younger people can deal with them and can
Mhm.
like them. Because if I go off on the way that I would go off, they would quickly get bored and quickly get sometimes threatened.
Mm.
And I'm going, well, we don't want that.
No.
So I've been trying to work out what's the go here. What's the way to make this the right thing? And yeah, the essential um, essential pushback is that
Yeah.
um, bloody uh, get all of your concepts
Mm.
done
Yeah.
um, as you would if they were coming out of you.
Mm.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
Um, no matter what they say. But bloody don't don't go on like I go on. Just get it done once.
Yeah.
Get it done once and walk away.
Yeah.
Because that's all the information they can take.
Yeah.
That's all of the that's all of the studying in inverted quotes
Mm.
that they can handle. sometime.
Yeah. As Bobo's saying, as is one of the people who've seen Code Grey, would love to see a follow-up. It's a thing that we have discussed on multiple occasions, more or less doing a web series built out from Code Grey. Just, time, circumstance, and resources haven't been exactly in our favor, but it's always on the books.
Might be soon. Might be
always on the
soon.
books. Always on the books.
Because there's a project that we are very close to making a thing that will be funding mama for a lot of things, and I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to driving a car. Which I'm not allowed to.
No, because you're a little weirdy who has seizures and loses consciousness on the regular. So
what are you going to
do? That's not an optimal combination with driving a vehicle.
No. Mind you, I've got to learn to steal vehicles again.
Yeah, sure, that's a valuable skill. Yeah. I saw one of those dash cam videos recently, and I don't know if it was staged or not, because there was a truck driver and there was a split screen, like there was one camera on the road and one camera on the truck driver. And sure, some trucking companies might do that from a safety point of view, but this guy is basically falling asleep as he's driving. So you got the split screen. One is the road. You see the truck veering across lanes as the guy driving starts going, and he keeps sort of snapping up and correcting. And then one time he doesn't. He just goes all the way off to the side, and the truck goes up. It's like a dual carriageway, and goes off the road and onto the embankment, which wakes him up rather rudely. And you see, to his credit, he doesn't overreact. Like, he tries to do a controlled correction of the thing, but it's all too late, and the truck flips and squooshes the cabin that he's in. And I think possibly the trucking company released that as a cautionary tale. I'll get up to you karting, actually.
Sorry, go on.
Go-karts. Gecko thinks you should get behind the wheel of a go-kart. What do you think of that?
Fuck yes.
Yeah.
I reckon I should get behind get behind the wheel of a go-kart, because I reckon there's a bit of a tradition in my family in Canberra of karting when the grandchildren turn up. The older grandchildren sort of started it, and the younger grandchildren have gone on to doing it. But the older grandchildren, of course, have gone, fuck that, we're not going to stop go-karting just because the younger guys. We're just going to be the cooler, older grandchildren. And of course, they're the cooler, older grandchildren. They're the older sons who are like,
you're going to be
one of
dodgy
them's about 21, and he's going to be like got a real job and a girlfriend, and the other one's finished his science, and he's got like a real job and a girlfriend, and they want to do go-karting with the guys, right? And the guys are just going, this is the most awesome thing in the world. And one of the things that I thought was really sweet was they said, the oldest said, okay, we're going to have teams. I'm going to pick a team, and other fella's going to pick a team, and then we're going to swap teams. And so while this was all going on, they were giving them pep talks as to how to drive and how not freak out, because some stuff was going on around them. It was a lot of lot of stimulatory hyper response, and so the older grandson was given a little bit of, okay, big guy, we want to do this and we want this and we want to have this to happen as well. All right. So just think these three things all the time and follow me and be smooth and we're going to win like motherfuckers. And they did. And then the other fellow has a go.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, they had panther onesies prepared and
Okay.
ninja onesies prepared,
Nice.
because anyone who could drive that good should be a panther or a ninja, and they had them set up, ready to go, and I thought that was very, very cool. And something that fucking I couldn't have picked. See, the thing is, that's something that me and Angry should have been all over. We should have been all over that. And that was something that we were trained to do. But no, these guys from Borkham Hills made it happen. I'm jealous as fuck. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Fuck their ways. Fuck their father, my brother.
Yeah.
And their Coles. No, that's no, no, no. I was being a bitch then, and
That's fair. That's fair, though.
there was no woman involved, so there was no reason to be a bitch.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me,
Mhm. I tell you, Bobo's suggesting you get yourself one of those rascal mobility scooters and just run everyone off the footpaths. I think you'd be a
yeah,
super aggressive motorized scooter driver.
I think I would, but I'd start as really very quite damaged.
Yeah. There was a guy in my old neighborhood, East St Kilda, and he'd have his scooter on the road because I don't know if I'd turbocharged it or whatever, but it was going much faster than most of these scooters go, and he would do it on the road, which is still much slower than a car, but he's just out there, and it's virtually. I know he was paraplegic, and he was your angry cripple. And he was just basically, go on, fucking hit me. You're going to make my life worse? I don't think so. I fucking dare you. Fucking hit me.
Have a fucking go.
Yeah, he was literally out there saying, "You go, have a go, you mug. Have a go. See what happens. See what happens."
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to admit to a certain degree of admiration for his incredibly aggressive response to the whole situation. Ooh, Gecko's saying you want a Colin Furs mobility scooter. That's a guy with a YouTube channel who puts car engines into mobility scooters, which doesn't sound at all dangerous. Honestly, it sounds like a complete legit thing to do with no downside whatsoever. Dave Blumen is here. AIDzee's still breathing in. Dave, I'm sure he'll say hello when he breathes out. Yes, no, maybe. No, still on that inwardly focused phase. Fair enough. How are you this fine evening, Dave? Good to see you. AIDzee is being a gallant little self-medicating soldier. Yes, Dave is saying you ought to breathe, AIDzee. The suspended state thing you're doing is there. Look, there he goes. He breathed. That was a mildly disconcerting suspended state you were in for a moment there.
The thing is, you're actually going to see a lot more of that. suspended state stuff as we go forward in the future, especially since there's going to be less and less medicated the drugs going on.
Okay.
And you'll see that happen more and more. You'll see that happen more and more. That that you'll see my whole mind and body do nothing.
Okay. No,
for a little while, and not in the wiped out.
Yeah.
AIDzee's having trouble fucking putting neurons together again.
Yeah.
But in the whole, no, AIDZee's fucking decided to stop breathing for 2 minutes,
Yeah.
and not to break his mind like the deep blue,
Fair
and
enough.
fuck him because he was French,
Yeah, fair enough.
and looked good. He
Yeah.
looked good and was French, so if he had to fucking dive and die, shit happens. I'm sorry. Be in Australia where
Yeah.
you've fucking got to get hit with dumpers, and know what a real wave is, cunt, and try and navigate on a bloody a reef
Yeah.
after a Bondi dumper,
Yeah.
and and not in deep blue where there's bloody whales, because the whales in Australia go, oh, that's nice. Oh, except there's shit off the coast. We'll just stay out a little ways, because the locals are dirty, filthy, and ride about in motorboats.
The
So
Bondi
yeah,
cigars.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, sorry, I was
No,
just,
as you say, Dave said he worked and moved today. Did you move house today, Dave, or literally just physically move your body? I'm not sure which one you mean, because moving house sucks the proverbial, and in the current environment, it feels like it would be so much worse. But yeah. Oh, and Safa's just dropped in, said he's just recovered from a stomach bug. I'm glad you recovered. Stomach bugs suck.
suck.
I had one last year. They're not good. The old vomit and squirty at the same time, not a good time.
Just not a
Not a
good
good
look. No. It's good to see you, Dave. I didn't mean to bother you with the not breathe thing. I was just trying to get as much nitrous oxide out of the bottle as possible. I'm going to be doing that again in a little while, but I've got to get some liquid into me.
Yep, cool.
And liquid is a thing that happens, well, to people, really.
Yep.
People who love people.
Yeah.
They're
They're
the most
happiest
wonderful
people
people in the world.
Yeah. I've heard. They're the luckiest people in the world.
They've been shot on several occasions. Police are following up leads,
Yeah.
and they think it's got something to do with musical theatre.
See, that's the
Yeah,
musical theatre, so many crimes.
that's it.
So many crimes.
It's like, fucking, oh, it's got something to do with the stolen car. Well, fucking, there you go.
Yeah.
Your crime's solved, son.
Yeah.
It's all over now. And yeah, the Australian Federal Police and the German Bundesverwaltung, and lots of different police
Yeah.
agencies are going over to America to work out
Yeah.
what can be done about musical theatre crime.
And specifically, Lin-Manuel Miranda and his international crime syndicate.
Yeah.
Oh, Noseguard from Chicago. Hello. Must be very early in your morning. Good morning to you. Oh, good. Now we're sharing sickness stories. Stella's saying wood chopping partner and had a spewy bug the other night, either a bad batch of cola or a bad batch of weed. Maybe both. And it's 6:20 a.m. in Chicago. Well, there you go.
Oh, that's gonna.
And
Suck.
Lee says you're awesome. And Dave says, oh, no, he's moving. He literally just meant physically moving. He said he doesn't usually leave till he gets some work done, and it's 4 p.m. there. So he feels pleased that he had physical activity and work today. So that's good. That's pretty good.
I tell Dave that I admire and love him anyway.
Oh yeah, when AIDzee and I say we admire and love Dave, it's a sexual thing. It's very sexual. So just in case anyone was thinking it was platonic or professional respect for a truly talented artist, no, it's naked sexual desire that we're talking about. Have I said too much? Have I said too much? Was that secret? That oh my God! Always just bloody say too much.
I've got to get up and.
You get up. Those guys, do you like the tie? I'm doing a video. AIDzee, you by all means get up and do whatever you have to do. I'll hold the fort.
Okay.
And the thing I've developed for my cocktail channel is to dress in nice clothes. Okay, we'll just mute you while you make noise taking that off. Okay, nice. Dave is sexual for both of us. Thank you. Well, yeah, we need us both alive. I'm fairly alive. AIDzee is for certain values of alive, but he's with us. And hey, Locust Trooper, nice to see you. Okay. Dave, you're worried you're saying worse things than us. You want us alive, healthy, and happy, and not talking about necrophilia. Yes, look, we all want to be alive, and if we can continue to have no community or very limited community transmission of the coronavirus, might be able to actually physically interact with AIDzee sometime soon, because there are a few people in this goddamn world more immunocompromised than that lad. So yes, he needs to, much as he doesn't want to, he needs to isolate himself more than most people. But we'll see. We'll see what Dan Andrews relaxes on Monday. My guess is it will be relatively mild, but it'll be like, you can go over to your friend's house. You can have gatherings with 1 or 2 people who don't live in the house. I mean, in other states, they're saying you can have 10 people in your house. And they're potentially going to open up public spaces to groups of 100 people. New Zealand's saying they might reopen restaurants, bars, and pubs. But see, an interesting thing for a lot of cafes, restaurants, and bars, social distancing restrictions means their business isn't viable. So a lot of places that were around before the restrictions are probably never opening again, which is sad. Yeah, Safa, travel restrictions are probably going to be lightened. And yes, Locust Trooper, we might have competitive sport happening again soon. No crowds. They won't let crowds into the stadium, but the professional sport might happen again. And God, I reckon that'd be funny. Big top tier football matches with no crowds. That would be so fucking weird. That'd be funny. Yes, Safa, definitely want to go see Mum. That just being able to, and again, you're going to have to use common sense, because it's like, okay, how at risk am I? How at risk are the people I'm going to visit or the people I want to visit me? We could very easily get quite a sharp spike in new cases, because there are almost bound to be hidden cases of COVID-19 in the community, because so many people never develop any symptoms or develop only very mild symptoms when they have the virus and they're contagious, but they don't feel or seem sick. So they interact with other people, and then the virus reaches someone who actually has a compromised immune system. And then we start getting very sick people in hospital, people dying, which we want to avoid as much as possible. That's a fun idea, Safa. AFL with no crowds. We could just have Melbourne background noises like the trams going by and whatnot. I, for one, am going to be interested to see what happens with major sport with no crowds. It'd be interesting. Dave, you hope Dan doesn't let things get too hot. No, he won't. He will be the most conservative of all the states with relaxing restrictions. I think it would be encouraging businesses to open under certain circumstances. But what we have seen, not just in Australia, but around the world, but it's definitely happened in Australia, as soon as there's any relaxing of restrictions at all, there are dickheads who go, I can do anything. I can do whatever I want. Oh, they said I can have 2 people over. That means I can have 20 people over. And it's like, oh, they said we could go to the beach to exercise, so hundreds of people are going to go to the beach and just lie on the sand. People are dickheads, essentially. I saw a fucking video this week. Someone posted it on Twitter. It's like, I can't believe this dickhead. What was the worst thing about these dickheads? They decided to have like a house party, simulate a nightclub in their apartment, which is like a 1-room apartment, on a Monday night while restrictions are in place. So they were trying to compile what was the dumbest, that they had this little nightclub set in, and there were like 20 or 30 people in their 1-room apartment. It was on a Monday night, so they were going to get noise complaints, so they were all going to get busted. But there was a video. The dickhead had shot a video and put it on their social media where a whole bunch of people were plainly identifiable, and also they were playing really shitty music. So it was a real sort of toss-up. What was the worst thing? That they had the crowd in their apartment, that they did it on a Monday night, that they put it on their own social media, or that they were playing such shitty music? They're all sins. Lee, probably not opening up the cams tonight. Just giving AIDzee a bit of space. Looks like he's making a cup of coffee. Safra, it's not just a full moon tonight. It's a super moon. I missed the moon rise because apparently if you caught the moon when it was rising tonight, you got that optical illusion of the moon looked freaking huge. I saw it a bit later in the night, like just before I came on here. It was very bright. It was obviously very full. Didn't really look larger because it was just high in the sky with nothing to compare it to. But apparently, if you saw the moon rise tonight, it looked really large. So I missed that, but there's probably a bunch of photos and videos online. By the way, if you've ever wondered why when you take a photo of the moon that looks big with like your phone and it looks tiny in the picture, but then you see someone post a photo online and the moon looks huge, it's trickery. They're using an SLR camera with a long lens and zooming, and that does all these things with focal length and whatever that does trickery. But your mobile phone doesn't have any sort of long lens, so you just get this tiny pissy little moon in the sky. So it's photography is lies, is what I'm saying. I grew up. My dad was a photographer, so I learned all about photography and how photography works, how lenses work, how you can do different things in processing to get different results. And the dumbest saying ever coined was, the camera never lies. Because cameras are, by definition, a lie. anything represented by a camera is a complete lie. And here's AIDzee. He's back.
Hello, I'm back. And I wanted you to tell me what you were talking about while I got myself reacquainted.
Just then we were talking about the supermoon. We had a supermoon tonight. Full moon and
big, yeah.
big. Yeah.
I first time I ever saw one of those, I was in a Volkswagen Beetle on my own, driving on a country road in New South Wales, and thought it was the paranormal coming to get me.
Yeah.
Freaky drive.
Yeah.
And the next time it happened, it was red.
Yeah. No, in the country with that clear air. A blood moon, a blood supermoon in the country can be a very freaky experience.
Fuck you a shit right up.
Yeah. Oh, Saf, I was talking about I grew up with photography because my dad was a photographer. Safa's asking if my dad worked with digital. No, my dad actually died 30 years ago. So he was a film man through and through, did his own processing and whatnot. It's a coin toss. I think he would have loved digital photography because he loves fucking around. His idea, when we talk about cut and paste now, he would literally cut and paste. He would cut bits out of photographs, stick them to other photographs, then re-photograph that. That's where the term cut and paste comes from. In your olden days, photographers would literally cut bits out of one photo, paste them onto another photo, then re-photograph that and go, oh, look at this amazing thing I photographed. My dad loved fucking around with things like that. So I think it's a coin toss. He either would have hated digital and said it was bullshit and trickery and fakery and no good, or he would have loved it and he would have got full on into computers and Photoshop and just doing real. I think he actually would have loved it. I think he would have really got into digital and got into photo shooting and just really messing with photos because he was into that. Our musical aviator says, well, I was talking about the supermoon. If you ever see, because if AIDzee, one thing you missed, I said, if you try and take a photo of the moon when it looks big with your camera on your phone, it looks little and stupid. And you think, well, what's that about? Because it's actually an optical illusion that you're seeing. But you can recreate that with an SLR and a long lens, and you mess with the focal length, and you can get that vision of the moon looking really huge.
Yeah, you don't have to
my
do
dad
any
ever
of that.
Bigfoot photos. I think I'm sure I remember him faking some giant fish and giant rabbit photos, like a hunter or a fisher person holding up, look at my, and the fish was this big, and he did a forced perspective or a cut and paste. So the fish or the rabbit they were holding up looked like it was about 5 feet long or something. I think he liked doing stuff like that. I remember those types of things. So, I'm going to show you fine people something. I left this. Doesn't this look disgusting now? I left this sitting in the fridge for half an hour. That's my curdled milk.
Still, it looks orange. Orange is always nice.
Yeah. So I'm going to filter this now.
As you should.
Yeah.
So, all right, you why is there still an argument or a debate between, or a fight between digital and film process photography, when in the sense that it's very, very easy now to get all objectified images through digital. Digital's getting so good that it will take out the pixel value that you can't see, and it's
wanky.
also,
what the story is. It's like
Yeah.
vinyl versus digital music. There are some truths to the analog versus the digital, but really most of the people arguing for your old school analog sounds versus modern digital are just wankers.
Mm.
That's
Okay.
what it is.
All right. Um,
Some people like to make things more difficult, like me with this milk clarified cocktail I'm doing.
yes. But it's how do I put this? You're not trying to you're not trying to show off. You're trying to make a flavor that
Yes.
is deliberate.
Yeah.
And all the people I've ever seen do um, uh, photograph or film photography,
Yeah.
basically are trying to get a flavor, if you
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. No,
because
that's a fair way to put it. Yeah.
what's happening next is the girl with the tartan dress is
Yeah.
about to have her whole um, um, fuzzed image
Mm.
basically gently removed from that parade ground and stuck um, defending the palace
Yeah.
on one side and having a nuclear warhead on the
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
Um,
I just noticed Dave's outdoor excursion today that he was so happy with was to take a DSLR outside, but using a 60-year-old slide projector lens. And from the end result, no one would know it was digital because the lens has made it look very old school, which is a nice combination of the old and the new right there. Because that's the thing. And yeah, with the DSLR, you do want to know about the size of the image receptor and all these, but the lens also makes a huge difference to your end result. Hey, are you in a state to control things for 10 minutes while I do a bit more video shooting with my cocktail here?
yeah. Oh, shut the fuck up. That's
No,
for
no, no,
sure.
no, no. You talk is what I'm saying.
Oh,
You
yeah, I could do that.
do you feel like doing that?
Yeah, I could talk. Yeah,
All right. So what I'm
for
going to
sure.
do from now, I won't be able to hear you. So you're the man in control. I can't hear you, and now I'll switch off my mic so you can't hear
Oh,
me.
hang on before you go. Um, when you come back, just turn yourself back to normal, so that you won't have to deal with the being drowned and killed and stuff. Can you hear me? Obviously not. All right. I will put myself onto a. Here we go. All right. He can't hear you, AIDzee. Nope. We can hear you, says Luke. Megalich says he's gone, AIDzee. Yes. AIDzee's the man. Oh, thank you, Luke. That's very kind. Gecko, with a slight projector lens, probably a bunch of chromatic and spherical aberrations. Well, to be completely honest with you, Gecko, I would have thought that myself. I don't want to be bitch, but that's what I'm saying is, get some fucking glassware onto it. You fucking slack motherfucker. You know, get some grinding. Get some third world people grinding on glass and going, Happy Ramadan. And fucking then get it ground to perfection and then done beautifully. And then, yeah, that's your romantic getaway. What is that? I don't understand that. I just saw an image of a like a Chinese or a Japanese temple, a pagoda temple. And what they have is in the middle of them, they have this big fuck off tree hanging down in the middle of these pagodas. And what they do is that holds the pagodas still during earthquake. And I just had an image, I think, of somebody in a very anime way being shown zap crack, and away I go. He doesn't have to deal with it. I'm sorry. I'm really all over the place at the moment. And it looks like our man's going to be coming back, but fuck him. What are you guys talking about? Slide projected lens, probably a bunch of chrometry spherical aberrations. Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah. AIDzee's the man. It's very kind of you to say that AIDzee's the man, especially when I've
realised I was still muted. What a munted is the idiot. Thanks, Strictly Sega, for telling me I was still muted. I didn't actually realise that. But I've been back. So, yeah, if you think I had to be patient before, because I left my little witch's brew in the fridge for half an hour for the curds to settle. So I'm like Little Miss Muffet waiting for curds and whey. The next filtering process can easily take an hour. So there you go. My lovely dame, how's AIDzee feeling? He's feeling very medicated at the moment.
Well, he's basically only a little bit medicated, and like literally a tiny bit medicated. The thing that's happening with the fucking nitrous oxide there is to get some anesthesia without the lingering effects of the opioid, because it only lasts for a little while, giving your body enough time to kick off its own resources for pain management, without having to constantly thump your your body's necessary
orphans and what?
Yeah.
Natural painkillers from the body is what we're talking about.
There you go. That's beautiful. Unfortunately, also, it plays merry hob with one's mental state, in the sense that I can't remember fuck of what I'm talking about.
That's fair.
Or whether, or how things are ordered or placed. I got in shit in hospital the other day because they wouldn't let me go, because they wanted to know what day, week, and month it was, and I was going,
that's a trick question. That is a trick question.
I can't get out of here with that. No. And I was there because I had, I was asleep in front of a chemist for 2 hours, and it didn't matter what I did. They wanted to fuck me up, and what they wanted was for boss of the house to be alerted to the fact that I was in hospital, and essentially they were going to get the option ready.
Yeah. But seriously, asking you the day and week and month, that's a trick question. No one knows that at the moment. Time stopped having meaning a couple of weeks ago. You know, there's really only 3 days of the week now, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. I think it was Stephen Colbert on his Twitter stream said when it was May the 4th, so we're calling it, Star Wars Day, May the 4th be with you. Stephen Colbert tweeted, Star Wars Day is more exciting than usual this year, because this is the first time in 2 weeks I've known what the date was. Just because it's May the 4th. That's the one day last month. If someone said to you, what's the date today? You instantly go, oh, May the 4th, because it's May the 4th be with you. And
I was talking to my poor dear mum about this fucking get AIDzee's tablet together. And said, look, I'll have to get my guy together. We'll talk about it, And I've got to go in there every few days. I'll have to call my guy, and naturally, everything gets ground down. But the family chopper comes to the rescue. And
I got to tell you, man, I'm really I'm going to show off this cocktail tomorrow night, and I'm going to drink it tonight. I'm going to show it off tomorrow night. I'm actually really excited because I don't know who remembers or if I showed it on here, but the things I mixed are bourbon, a very dark red aperitif, and a very dark brown Amaro. So basically, the drink was really dark brown, almost opaque. Pretty much was opaque. And it's coming through the clarification process, this really brilliant yellow. It's almost colorless. It's a really light yellow, which is absolutely mind-blowing for something that was an almost opaque brown. And that's milk. And again, that doesn't make sense. You just go, if I mix milk with something, it's going to go milky. It's not going to go clear. But some 400, 500 years ago discovered, and do you ever wonder how people discovered this? Like, did someone accidentally spill some milk into some booze and go, oh, fuck me, that's ruined now? And then they got their cheesecloth out and went, oh, maybe I can filter out all the gross curds that have developed here. And they filtered it through cheesecloth, and it came out a much clearer color than it had been. And then they cautiously gave it a taste and went, fuck me, this tastes better than before I spilled the milk in it. That's what I reckon it was. I reckon it was originally a mistake. It was an accidental discovery. Someone spilled some milk into their booze, and it all curdled, and they went, oh, this is gross and disgusting. And then they go, maybe I can filter out the gross bits and it will still be drinkable. And it went through the filter and came out really clear and actually came out with a smoother taste. Because you can think about it, a brandy from 400 years ago would have been rough as guts, would have been not like a smooth drinking brandy you get today. My lovely dame wants to give you a hug, AIDzee. Looks like you need one.
Well, I'm getting that fabulous needing to sleep in my week place again, and it actually might be it might be good for me to leave.
Well, it's actually
Yeah.
bedtime for me, so I'll be leaving. So if you want to retire for the evening, that's completely acceptable because I shall also be retiring for the evening.
I'd like to be talking to everybody tomorrow. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully get some sleep and come back at it tomorrow.
All right. You have the best one, yeah.
All right. So you take care, man, and we'll all see
Yeah.
you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bye.
Have a good one. Love you all.
Bye. Okay. So AIDzee's leaving us. He'll hopefully be back tomorrow. I love that still. You've gone no use crying over spilled milk. Definitely no crying over spilled milk when it makes the drink better. Gecko, sun's coming up, so you're about to go to bed because you're a vampire. No, you're a Lyft driver who does the night shift. Yeah, we're talking about all the things. The first time people did various things like eat an egg or, mushrooms, someone had to try the different mushrooms and someone had to die from eating the poison ones. Yeah, Mega Cheese Shagged. See, the thing is, it's easy to think, and that when AIDzee's that wasted, that it's drug induced, and he is on some medication that makes him sleepy, but it's actually usually mostly from sleep deprivation because of the chronic pain. He finds it very hard to sleep, and he might go 3 or 4 days with virtually no sleep. And so then he gets to that state where he's going, I'm soldiering on, but his body's just going, and his brain's going, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're not soldiering on. That is not a thing that's going to happen. And so he fades out somewhat because of the fact that he's very chronically sleep deprived, and because he's on some anti-anxiety meds, which can make you very drowsy as well. So, my lovely dame, like I said, he's in so much pain that any attempt he just can't get comfortable. He will go through phases where he only sleeps when the body goes, yeah, okay, I actually can't function anymore. And then he loses consciousness, like sitting up. So I might even be able to dig out at one point a bit of footage I never used, but it's from 10 years ago. But I've still got it on a hard drive somewhere. I kept the camera running when he fell asleep standing up. He's just like leaning on his walking stick, and he completely fell asleep while standing up, which seems impossible, right? But he was so exhausted, and he was drug affected, and he fell asleep standing up. He was just like propped on his walking stick, and he was snoring. And this went on for, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes. I was just absolutely fascinated that someone could actually fall asleep standing up. But yes, no, his chronic pain, and this all comes from when he contracted rheumatoid arthritis somewhere in the region of 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago. It's unfortunately quite a young man when he contracted this quite crippling disease that fucked up all of his joints. And he's been in chronic pain for the last 15, 20 years. So that's fun, isn't it? And then because the treatment for rheumatoid arthritis, because rheumatoid arthritis is an overreaction from your own immune system. So he got chemotherapy to suppress his immune system to control the rheumatoid arthritis, and it did a fuck ton of damage permanent damage in the meantime. But then the treatment permanently damaged his immune system, so he's been in chronic pain and immunocompromised for 15, 20 years, which is why about 10 years ago he contracted the flesh-eating bacteria necrotizing fasciitis, because he was very susceptible to an infection because he was so immunocompromised. So he contracted this necrotizing fasciitis that has about a 95 to 98% fatality rate. He's the one who didn't die. And so he was the center of attention in the hospital. Everyone from interns to senior professors of medicine were coming in to look at him and poke and prod and see, because they almost never see it in a live patient because it grows so quickly. It kills people before they even realize. And apparently if he'd taken even an hour or two longer to get to the hospital, he would have just been dead. And again, it's a minor miracle he wasn't dead anyway, because they all expected him. And he did die twice, but came back both times. So there you go. And hello, Annette and Aussie Gun Bunny. Nice to see you. You've just missed AIDzee. As sleep deprivation had got the better from him, and he was fading out quite severely. But he was with us for an hour and a half. He was here for a while, which is good. It's good. We haven't seen him for, God, it must be weeks. And I haven't even interacted with him for a week, as he goes through these bad phases, and that's why he ended up being a bit dopey. He started off pretty well, but the focus is required to talk really taxes him, and the sleep dep kicked in, and he's just really wasted. Oh, Ned, he hasn't been anywhere. He's just been in his one-bedroom apartment, but he just hasn't been well. Just looking at my filtering drink, still going. Oh my God, I'm really, tomorrow night, Formal Friday, I'm probably going to go fucking mad with the drinks, but I'm going to show you this drink, this clarified milk cocktail that's filtering. I'm going to make the base one again. It's a paper plane. It's a classic. It's bourbon, bitter aperitif, and a bitter amaro and lemon juice. So it's very dark, but the clarified version is this. I'll show it to you. Okay, it's still filtering very slowly. It's still filtering. But look at this. Okay, you can see it's almost clear. It's a bit more yellow on the monitor there. In real life, it's almost clear. It's just a very light yellow. And that was an almost opaque brown. I'm just blown away. So tomorrow night, I'm going to have this one prepared, and then I'm going to prepare an unfiltered one, show them to you side by side, and I'm going to do a taste test of them side by side, because I think they're going to taste quite different too. But I'm very excited by this little but I'm just going to be doing clarified milk versions of everything now, because the zombie I had at the start of this live stream, I'm just going to put this in the fridge, let it keep filtering. The zombie I made at the start of this live stream, oh, it was so nice. Again, it was a drink that was this almost opaque green black color. And yes, Megaleech, it does look a bit like a urine. I thought the zombie looked a bit more like a urine sample, actually. I'm just fascinated with how well this works. It sort of defies your instincts, for want of a better word, common sense. It's like if you add milk to a dark drink and it curdles and goes all cloudy and milk, that's what you think you're going to get. You wouldn't think just running it through a filter and essentially using the curds from the milk as the filtering agent, you wouldn't think that would give you this clear drink. It's very, very counterintuitive. But I freaking love it. It's a fascinating bit of chemistry, that milk curds can do that to a drink. Yeah, I reckon, I don't know, when it gets to the stage where, we can socially interact and whatnot, because there are some really wild recipes out there for doing a very big batch of milk punch, like literally making a punch for a party. Benjamin Franklin, famed founding father in the US, had published a recipe for milk punch. Yes, Megaleech, the milk products, the whey, does affect the flavor. It actually smooths the flavor out, changes the mouthfeel a little bit, as they say. But that's why I'm going to do the two side by side, an unfiltered one with a filtered one, not just for the look, but I'm going to do a taste comparison as well. Yeah, Gecko, I just used a coffee filter for it. Some people will use like a cheesecloth, or apparently there's a thing, a mesh bag for getting the liquid out of nuts is known as a nut milk bag, which my childish mind finds really funny. If someone said, this is a nut milk bag, I'd say, you mean a scrotum? A nut milk bag. It's just a scrotum as far as I'm concerned. But basically, yes, you just need something fine to filter it, because the curds do a lot of the filtering work. So whether you use a cheesecloth or a nut milk bag, or in my case, when you're just doing a little one, just a simple coffee filter. Like, it's so low tech. You just mix your drink, however you do it, and add it to milk. You don't add this. Apparently, this makes a really big difference, and this is fascinating to me as well. It's really different adding the booze to the milk gets you a very different and better result than adding the milk to the booze. You'd be forgiven for thinking that wouldn't make a difference, but it does. And so you add the booze to the milk and let it settle and then strain it. And the curds do a lot of the filtering work, and it strips all the color out of the drink and smooths out the flavor. Like the zombie that I made last night on the live stream and drank at the start of this live stream, that had like 4 sorts of rum, including an overproof rum, and half a shot of my 80% alcohol absinthe. A standard zombie recipe says to only put a few drops of absinthe in, because absinthe's a really strong flavor. And I thought, no, the milk clarifying is meant to smooth out flavors. I'm going to take a risk, and I put half a shot of my absinthe in it, and it was so smooth. Like, when I mixed all the colors, it was this really quite unappealing sort of green-black color. And then I filtered it out, and, like, honestly, yes, it looked like a urine sample, but it was this really brilliant yellow, and it was so smooth. Like, I like the flavor of absinthe, but it can be a bit harsh and overpowering. This drink was really smooth. It was amazing. And like milk and tea. Well, interestingly, a lot of milk punch recipes have black tea in them. And yeah, whichever black tea you like. And the clarification process strips out all the tannins, all the color, and the sort of harsh edges you can get with black tea. And so you still got this tea flavor, but it's really smooth. A lot of milk punch recipes have black tea in them. But same deal. I watched a video of someone who made this milk punch with black tea. And it was dark spirits in it. It was like brandy, and there might have been bourbon in it as well. So it was made with dark spirits and black tea. So it was basically, the drink was basically the color of black tea, and then poured it into the milk. So it curdled and was this incredibly gross curdled milk mess. And then they filtered it, and it came out just this brilliant golden color, brilliant translucent gold. It was weird. It went from black to a really gross curdled milk thing, looked like someone had threw up in the bowl. and came out as like this flawless translucent gold. I'm absolutely amazed by the process, quite honestly. I think it's fantastic. Gecko, the difference between shaken and stirred. I'm doing that definitely for Ian Fleming's birthday, a James Bond cocktail special. I'm going to do the James Bond Vespa cocktail, which is a really fucking strong martini. Not all martinis are killer, but a Vespa is like 2 shots of gin and 1 shot of vodka and 1 shot of vermouth. Like, it's a really strong drink. And I'm going to do it both shaken and stirred, because although the James Bond thing, he always goes shaken, not stirred, which is, everyone says no, that is not what you do. You do not shake, you stir. So I'm going to make a shaken Vespa and a stirred Vespa and see if I can taste any difference. Yeah, Megaleech, I'll do one of my blind tests. I'll make them both, get Mrs. Angry to help me, and I'll see if I can tell any difference in a blind test. Aussie Gumbunny, you think I should distill? Facebook knows me. They keep advertising booze to me, and I've had distilling kits advertised to me as well. Look, if I seriously, like, because my current contract runs until the end of June, I find myself with lots of free time, I might get a distilling kit, because they're not that expensive. You know, what's the worst that could happen? I could blow myself up, or I could go blind. Those are the worst things that could happen. Never ask what's the worst that could happen, because I feel like Donald Trump is the personification of the answer to that question. What's the worst that could happen? Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the worst that could happen. So I've run over time a little bit with that little rant. But I am going to leave you fine folk there. So I really hope you come back tomorrow, because I'm really keen to share the clarified cocktail versus the standard cocktail. Because when it's standard, it's really dark. It's a really dark brown. And this clarified one is just this really brilliant, almost clear yellow. I'm really keen to show you the comparison tomorrow night. So I hope you can get by. Have a good night, a good day, all of you. Take care of yourselves. You're all wonderfully fabulous people. We might even have AIDzee back tomorrow. Who knows? Depends how much sleep he gets between now and then. We'll see if I hear anything from him tomorrow. But I hope you all look after yourselves. Looking forward to seeing you again soon. But I shall say bye for now.